Today is June 3rd, 2023. Yesterday I talked a little bit about comfort and how sometimes too much of it can cause us to forget God. And going off of that, another way that we can forget God is through being too busy, just doing stuff all the time. We have all these projects we're working on. We have stuff to do. We just are so focused on it that we don't think about God. And that's where the Sabbath comes in. And I think it's a really useful way of staying focused on God. Because when we take a day to put aside our projects, our work, all the things we want to do, and give it to God, it helps us refocus on Him, and it interrupts that steady, constant stream of doing stuff. We have to stop for a minute and just focus on God. And I'm not advocating doing this in a legalistic way, like, oh, I can't turn on a light switch because it's the Sabbath, or, I can't get a meal at the store because it's a Sabbath. Like, I don't want it to be just a rule you have to follow, or I don't want to make it seem like that's what it is. The Sabbath is what it is, regardless of what I want it to be. But what I'm saying is that it shouldn't be this thing you just have to do, and it's not like that. The way I see the Sabbath is a day to focus on God and break up that pattern of just constantly doing things and focusing on your goals or your projects or whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with that stuff, but it can cause you to forget about God if you're too focused on that. And so that's why I think the Sabbath can be super beneficial. And it allows us to rest. It allows us to forget about a lot of the things that we can typically worry about during the week. We get a day to just put that aside and say, you know what? I'm going to trust God. I'm going to trust that He will provide if I take this break. And it can be an act of faith too, because let's say you're working. In our modern world, someone who works 7 days a week can get ahead of someone who works 6 days a week. It can seem like you might fall behind, like you might not have the time to do all the things that you need to do. And so by keeping the Sabbath, you put those things aside and say, you know what? Even though I think I need to do these things, I'm going to trust that God will get me by without doing them. I'm going to take a break and put my faith in God. And so that's just some of my thoughts on the Sabbath. It's something I really enjoy. Again, I don't try to be legalistic about it. I don't beat myself up if I do one little task, or if, I don't try and judge others for what they choose to do with it, but I think God gave it to us for a reason. I don't think He wanted us to just totally get rid of it, disregard it. It's part of the 10 Commandments. You wouldn't say someone's being legalistic for not murdering someone. oh, you're following the commandment of you shall not kill, you're just being legalistic. No, it's like it's part of the moral order that God created. And so I think it's still in effect. It's just there's a right way of doing it and a wrong way, and I'm just figuring this out. I'm going off of what I read in the Bible, and I could have it wrong for sure, but it's been beneficial since I've started doing it, and I enjoy my time to just take a break and spend time with God and really focus on Him and what He's doing, and resting from my normal everyday life. So that's all I've got for today. Peace.